Hello everyone, I just wanted to make a video talking about all the drama that's going on with Hypixel's moderation team decisions and everything related to that. So, recently they announced, I think it was yesterday, possibly the day before, they announced that they were going to be removing all their volunteer roles and going to a fully paid moderation team made up of their new role called Game Master. It's basically a senior mod, but it has a different name. So, I think that having paid moderation positions is great, and I'm glad that they have the resources to do that, but removing all of their actual moderators that are like volunteers is a terrible idea. They lose a lot of their like moderation abilities because they cannot afford to pay 200 people an actual wage. And I know they're a rich server, and I know they make a lot of money, but I don't think that they have the money to support that. And that said, I think they need more than 200 moderators. They need like 1,000. They have their peak players is like 200,000. That is a lot of people, and they can't just hold that off with 200 people, even if they could afford to pay 200 people. And even with Atlas and all the new things they've been making to make moderation easier and more efficient, isn't enough. And them getting rid of volunteer positions is an awful idea. And then I want to talk about this. So, recently there was this post made on the forums by Frozen, which is the staff manager, where he goes and talks about various things that people were concerned about with this, and there is a lot to go over. So, pretty much nothing said in this post I would deem as clear. I wouldn't deem any of it as like good communication with the community. It's just not, it's not great. And people kept responding, people kept asking questions, and that was the lot. Like, he hasn't edited the post since yesterday at 1, so I don't know if he's going to edit it again, but for now, it seems like it's being left as is. Then, Q Lin responded with a couple of responses. Cookie Billy is a mod on Mineplex, I believe. I looked it up a little bit ago. And he went over a couple things that I'll go into in a minute. And then the other notable person is Psyches, who responded talking about TG Penguin. Now, if you don't know who TG Penguin is, he's their previous name was TG Outbreak, and they were a mod on Hypixel, and they got demoted for making a tweet. I can't find the original tweet, but basically he said something along the lines of, you know, there's like biased promotions to Game Master, and people that got promoted hanging in with admins and stuff, and so he got demoted. Here's his demotion message. It says, "Hello, to answer your questions, the volunteer staff team won't be changing at all. They will continue handling their day-to-day the same as what we do before as GMs. Teams will be focused on similar moderator-related duties, however they will have separate work that they'll need to do as well. I would like to talk about your recent behavior, though, as well as your position here on the staff team. It seems as though you don't necessarily agree with all the way, but with the way the staff team is going, and seeing as you're taking to Twitter to talk about false claims of GMs having it in with the admins, I can understand your frustration, but your behavior regarding the situation is less than ideal, to say the least. We do understand that the changes we make won't exactly make everyone happy, however, we do our best to be as fair as possible to the team as a whole. Additionally, your behavior outside of this is quite poor based on multiple different reports we've received recently. I think at this point it would be best for us to part ways and have you move from your position here on the staff team. The direction the staff team is going won't be changing based on what I'm seeing as well as the behavior the management is seeing. I believe this is the best option going forward for both you and the staff team. Regarding your removal from the team, you'll be losing access to all staff information, titles, and blah blah blah." So, that's his demotion message. Pretty much, he got demoted for making a tweet saying the stuff, like making a quote-unquote false claim about game masters getting their position due to having in with the admins. I don't know if that's false or not. It could be false, could not be false. It doesn't really matter. I don't think he should have gone out and said that, because it is going against the team that he resides in. It makes them look unprofessional, so I don't think that him getting demoted for this was necessarily the worst choice of action. However, there is, like, he says more on his Twitter page over here that is a bit more damning evidence, I would say. So, so basically he said in this tweet that when they asked staff managers, they wouldn't tell them anything, and that they would just say that they can't go into it, so only people that have Game Master can know what the role is, which I guess they're under NDA, but still, that seems, I don't know. Where is the other tweet? Yes, right here. He said, well, as long as you fall in line, don't question things, you are fine. If you form an opinion that they disagree with, then rip. Kind of like the time they warned me because one of them never read an official announcement. I don't know what this is in regards to, but I assume that there was an announcement made on either the forums or Twitter or something, and he commented about it, and then the admin got mad, or like a staff manager got mad at him, even though they hadn't seen the actual thing, and he got warned for it, despite the admin not being knowledgeable about the server that he's an admin on. So, I'm going to assume that that's what happens here, just based off of this scenario, and he got warned for it, which that's absolutely not his fault. The admin is at fault there. If that's what happened again, it's all he said, she said type thing. So, I can't validate that. And then, going back to this, Keelan said that TG Penguin is not a good sample for you to bring up. I'm so glad you take one side without even thinking of the other. We left personal bias to choosing out the first GMs. First GMs, so I mean, that doesn't include future GMs, I guess, but I mean, yeah, it could just be bad wording. So, it gets worse. So she says that, basically saying that it's a bad example. And then Cookie Billy, who I talked about earlier, is the mod on Mineplex, says this. So Keelan said, I've got to ask here, what image do you have in the admin team? This is something you write down. We work off each other in the team. It's how we manage to make the games we do. We won't work well as a company if we just fire anyone who gave out a bad idea. Additionally, you should never be afraid to give feedback at work here or elsewhere. If you are, you're clearly at work for the wrong people. Considering the number of moderators contacting me about their concerns, scared to voice them publicly, agreeing with me, giving me more points, and the current staff manager feels cold, unable to be contacted, etc. The staff team, unfortunately, doesn't feel comfortable sharing these due to the fear of consequences. Look at Sky C, for example. And everyone's super happy that's just not the case. The admin team may be different, I have no idea, but the general staff doesn't agree. If you're not seeing that, this worries me. I have zero ill intentions with this, but please, let your staff have the chance to speak their words without punishment. Multiple staff members have said their very word to speak up and wanted the community to shout as loud as possible. Stop this, including a new GM. I don't think him saying this was wise, because they probably will bet the GMs to try and figure out who said this, if that's a true statement. But either way, if this is true, that is awful. That means that the staff are scared to speak up and they feel like they're being silenced, which is a really, really bad precedent to have on your staff team. I've worked as a staff manager for a service before. I know that you always have to listen to your staff and they should feel threatened by the fact they just want to talk to you. That is a really, really, really bad thing. And if that's actually what's going on here, then Hypixel should be ashamed of their managers. That's really, really bad. So, this is the main thing I want to talk about. So, I don't know how many moderators are contacting them. There's not that many. If I go onto the Hypixel Discord here, you can see that there's 20 moderators online. Of course, this is pretty late at night when I'm recording this, so I can't say for sure whether or not that's actually a great example, but there's 20 online right now. During the day, there's like 50 or something. So, you know, there's probably like 100 to 200 moderators, at least that I know of. If there's, considering the way that he words this, I'm going to assume that there's at least 10 messaging him, and I assume that he's a well-connected person because he seems to have the credibility of someone that would be. He's been playing the server for years, and he's been active within the community for years. So I'm going to assume that he's well-connected and is friends with at least 10 mods. If not more. But either way, if at least a tenth of your staff team is like talking about that, and probably more are thinking it, just not saying anything about it, that is awful. And before you make a decision public like such a huge change of the staff team, you should talk to your staff team before. You shouldn't make a decision and then see how your staff team handles it afterwards. That's not a good idea. And I think that they really messed up big time with this. Not only do I not agree with the decision itself, but like seeing the disruption in the community and apparently within the staff team means that they really messed up. So yeah, I hope that they change this, and I really hope that the corruption and the disruption that is within the staff team right now is resolved, because this is really, really bad. And it seems, based on the replies that admins have given within this thread, that they are out of touch with the community, and that maybe they need to do a bit more research on the community that they're residing in. So, I think that's it. I will probably make more videos about this in the future, because I do have a lot of thoughts about it, and I will be talking with a couple of my friends about it, including people that are more versed in the staff team. So, yeah, we'll see. And hopefully some of this gets resolved, or Hypixel comes out and says something about it, whether that be Simon or I honestly I wouldn't trust anything Frozen says at this point, but we'll see. Anyway, have a great day.